Let's get right to the heart of today's message. Love is not random. The person you married, the person you didn't, or even the fact that you've walked alone for years, it isn't simply a matter of luck, timing, or chemistry. It's the mirror of your own inner world. In Buddhist philosophy, this mirror has a name, karma. Karma is not punishment, and it's not reward. It's the simple, unavoidable law of cause and effect. The way your past actions, words, and energies ripple forward into your present. When we talk about marriage or long-term love, we're talking about the most powerful mirror of all, the person who shares your days and your nights, who sees you at your best and worst, reflects back the energy you carry, the lessons you have avoided, and the growth you are ready to face. When you think about it, doesn't this make sense? Haven't you ever wondered why you keep attracting the same type of person, or why a relationship that began with laughter turned into silence? That's not just coincidence. It's a pattern, and patterns always point us back to ourselves. I've lived this personally. Years ago, I found myself falling into the same cycle with different partners, arguments about attention, the feeling of not being fully seen. It wasn't until I stopped asking, why don't they love me right, and started asking, why am I drawn to this dynamic, that everything shifted. The truth hurt. I was choosing relationships that validated my hidden belief that love must be earned. Once I saw the mirror, I could change the script. This is what karma in love really is. It's not a mystical curse hanging over your head. It's a repetition of energy until you're ready to learn. Some partners are blessings, fruit from kindness and honesty carried across lifetimes. Others are teachers, showing us the wounds we still carry. Fear of abandonment, lack of self-worth, anger buried so deep we think it's gone. And yes, sometimes the contract between two souls is simply unfinished business. Maybe you betrayed each other before. Maybe you supported each other through illness. Maybe you left each other behind. And in this life, the bond returns, not to punish, but to complete. Some people feel it as instant recognition. I've known you forever. Others feel it as instant conflict. Why do you get under my skin so much? Both can be signs of karmic connection. Now, here's where I want to challenge you. Too many people use karma as an excuse. They say, it must be my fate to suffer, or this is my cross to bear. That's not the teaching. Karma is not a prison. It's a syllabus. The class repeats until you learn, but the moment you learn, the cycle changes. You can walk away from pain without hate. You can forgive without forgetting. You can open your heart without demanding rescue. And every time you choose clarity over confusion, compassion over ego, patience over drama, you are rewriting your karmic story. Let me give you a concrete example. An older couple I once met, Helen and James, had been married for over 50 years. Their marriage wasn't perfect. There were seasons they nearly gave up. Yet Helen said something that struck me. I think we've done this before. She didn't mean in this life. She meant in others. She felt that she and James carried a debt, a duty, an unfinished chapter. And that sense, call it intuition, call it karma, kept them committed when logic said quit. Their marriage wasn't about romance alone. It was about resolution. Contrast that with my friend Maya, who repeated toxic patterns until she realized she was complicit. Her lesson wasn't endurance. It was boundaries. For her, karma meant walking away and finally choosing differently. Two opposite paths, one truth. Karma gives you what you're ready to face. So if you're listening to this now, married, divorced, widowed, or single, I want you to pause and ask, what is my relationship reflecting back to me? If you feel unseen, where are you not seeing yourself? If you feel unloved, where are you withholding love from yourself, from others? If you feel trapped, where are you still clinging to stories that no longer serve? The mirror is not the problem. The mirror is the teacher. And the sooner you recognize it, the sooner you free yourself from repeating the same story again and again. This is why we must stop romanticizing love as pure magic. Yes, sparks matter. Chemistry matters. But real love, lasting love, is not just found, it is cultivated. It grows in the soil of honesty, kindness, presence, and self-respect. And if your soil is rocky with bitterness or cluttered with old wounds, no partner can thrive there. This is why Buddhist wisdom says, don't just look for the right person. Work to become the right person. The energy you live is the energy you attract. If you want someone who listens, practice listening. If you want loyalty, embody integrity. If you want tenderness, soften your own heart. Because karma doesn't deliver what you wish for. It delivers what you're prepared to hold. And let me be clear, none of this means you should tolerate harm. If your relationship is abusive, emotionally, verbally, physically, the karmic lesson may be to leave, to reclaim dignity, to learn boundaries you never learned before. That, too, is karmic completion. But for many, the lesson is subtler. Less about escape, more about awareness. Less about changing the other, more about transforming yourself. So here's the call to action. As you listen, don't just nod and move on. Engage. Take one moment today to reflect. What is love teaching me right now? Write it in the comments. Let's make this a real conversation, not just a monologue. Hit the like button if you've ever recognized a pattern in your relationships. And if you want to keep exploring how karma, love, and spiritual growth shape each other, then subscribe. Because this channel is about walking together through truths that aren't always easy, but always freeing. Love is not random. Your marriage, your loneliness, your heartbreak, they're not mistakes. They are mirrors, contracts, practices, and the moment you decide to see them clearly, you begin to shift the karma that shapes your future. Let's face it, every love story begins with hope. Nobody stands at the altar or commits to a partner thinking, one day this will fall apart. We step into marriage believing in laughter, companionship, and peace. And yet, for so many people, the story bends in another direction. The bright spark fades into arguments, silence, or a sense of being trapped. And when that shift happens, the haunting question surfaces. Why did my marriage turn out this way? Was it my bad choices? Was it my partner's faults? Or is there something deeper at work? From a Buddhist perspective, the answer isn't blame. It's karma. Not karma as punishment, but karma as vibration. Relationships are the stage where our deepest patterns, our unmet needs, our childhood wounds, our hidden beliefs come alive. The person you marry does not just bring flowers. They bring their entire past. And you bring yours. Two histories collide, and the result isn't always harmony. Sometimes it's a battlefield. Sometimes it's a prison of silence. Sometimes it's a lesson disguised as pain. Here's what I've learned. The partners who trigger us the most are often carrying the exact lesson our soul needs. Think about that for a moment. The spouse who refuses to give you affection may be showing you the raw ache of your own self-neglect. The partner who always criticizes may be reflecting the inner critic you've carried since childhood. The cold distance you feel may mirror the walls you built long before they ever came into your life. This isn't about excusing hurtful behavior. It's about seeing the deeper mechanics at play. Because karma is not vengeance, it's feedback. I once met a woman named Judith at a temple in Oregon. She had been married for over 40 years to a man she admitted was hard to love. He was distant, quick to anger, rarely affectionate. By her own words, she felt unseen and unappreciated for decades. When I asked why she stayed, her answer surprised me. Not out of weakness, out of something deeper. He was the mirror showing me where I hadn't yet learned to love myself. In her struggle, she learned patience, compassion, and resilience in ways no book or retreat ever taught. That was her karmic lesson. She didn't frame her life as wasted time. She framed it as sacred training. Now, I don't romanticize suffering. If you are in a relationship that is abusive, emotionally or physically, the karmic lesson is not endurance. It's clarity. It's boundaries. It's reclaiming dignity. Sometimes karma calls you to stay and soften. Sometimes it calls you to leave and liberate. But in both cases, the point is not to run blindly from pain or to cling blindly to hope. The point is to ask, what is this suffering revealing about me? Let me get personal. In my own past, I stayed too long in a draining relationship because I thought leaving meant failure. I thought I had to work harder to prove my love. But what I was really doing was avoiding the truth. I was terrified of being alone. The marriage didn't just fail me. I was failing myself by refusing to listen. The karmic pattern wasn't my partner's distance. It was my fear of emptiness. And until I faced that fear, I would keep recreating it. That realization hurt, but also freed me. So what happens when two unhealed people come together? It often looks like this. One feels unloved, so they chase. The other feels overwhelmed, so they withdraw. Words become weapons. Silence becomes distance. One partner demands, the other defends. Each believes the other is the problem. But beneath the shouting and silence, both are reenacting old wounds. This is why Buddhist wisdom says the most intense karmic bonds are not always about romance. They're about resolution. The same loop repeats until someone breaks it. And here's the paradox. Even toxic patterns can be teachers. If you've ever asked yourself, why do I always end up with partners who don't treat me well? That's karma speaking. It's not destiny. It's data. It's showing you the exact place you need to heal. Maybe you abandon yourself for fear of abandonment. Maybe you equate chaos with passion. Maybe you confuse attention with love. None of these are punishments. They are invitations. But invitations only matter if you accept them. Let's pause here. If this is resonating, don't just nod quietly. Take a second to subscribe to this channel, because here we're not afraid to talk about the real work of love. We're not here for fairy tales. We're here for transformation. And I want you with me as we keep unpacking these truths together. Now, let's go deeper. What does it actually look like to break free from the karmic loops of struggle? The first step is recognition. Notice the patterns in your past relationships. Were they marked by abandonment, betrayal, or silence? Those aren't random. They're themes, repeating until you bring them into awareness. Write them down. Say them out loud. Recognition pulls them out of the shadows. The second step is ownership. This doesn't mean taking blame for every failure. It means admitting your role. Did you ignore red flags because you were lonely? Did you hold back your truth to keep the peace? Did you give and give, hoping to be loved in return? When you own your part, you reclaim power. You stop being a victim of bad luck in love, and you start being the author of a new chapter. The third step is transformation. This is where karma shifts. For some, the transformation means learning to stay, choosing presence, patience, forgiveness. For others, it means learning to leave, finally drawing a line, finally saying, no more. And for everyone, it means turning the focus inward, healing old wounds, reprogramming old beliefs, practicing self-love not as a slogan, but as a daily discipline. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone jump from one marriage to another, or from one partner to another, without ever pausing to heal? They carry the same baggage, only with a different face beside them. New relationship, same outcome. That's karma recycling. The only way out is to stop, breathe, and change your own script. I want to give you one more story. A man named Charles, divorced for decades, carried bitterness like a badge. She ruined me, he'd say about his ex-wife, and yet he kept dating, kept searching. But nothing worked. The problem wasn't his ex, it was his grip on the story. Only when he finally forgave, not her, but himself, did things shift. He let go of the villain narrative. He began to see his role. He even wrote letters he never sent, releasing resentment one line at a time. Within a year, he met someone new. Not dramatic, not flashy, but real. And this time, he was ready. His karma had changed because he had changed. So here's the lesson. Marriages don't fail because love disappears. They fail because karmic wounds remain unhealed. But when you face those wounds with compassion, honesty, and courage, you change the entire vibration of your life. You stop attracting chaos. You start inviting peace. And whether you stay in your marriage, rebuild one, or live fully alone, you do so with clarity instead of confusion. That's the shift we're after. Not perfect romance, but spiritual alignment. Not endless blame, but courageous inquiry. Not running from pain, but learning from it. As the Buddha taught, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. The moment you transform your understanding, your karma begins to shift. And when your karma shifts, your relationships follow. So as we close part 2, let me ask you this. What lesson is your relationship or your loneliness trying to teach you right now? Sit with that question and then share in the comments. Because your story, your lesson, may be the exact reflection someone else needs to see. And before we move on to the next part, do me this favor. If you haven't already, click subscribe. That one small action tells me you're ready to do the work. To see love not as random, but as karmic, intentional, and transformable. Together, we can break the cycles of struggle and build relationships that reflect not our wounds, but our wisdom. If part 1 showed us that love is a mirror, and part 2 revealed how marriages can become battlegrounds when old wounds collide, then part 3 is where things get hopeful, because cycles can be broken. Just because your past relationships felt like struggles doesn't mean the next one has to. Karma is not a life sentence. It's alive, it's fluid, and it changes every time you change. The question is not, am I doomed to repeat the same mistakes? The question is, am I willing to become someone new? This is where we shift from confusion to clarity, from longing to living. Too often we're told, find the right person and everything will fall into place. But Buddhism flips the question. Are you becoming the right person? Because relationships are not gifts we stumble across. They are mirrors we prepare for. The love you receive is shaped by the energy you radiate. That's why two people can meet, feel instant chemistry, and still collapse into toxicity. Chemistry without clarity is chaos. Attraction without preparation is repetition. To attract the partner you're meant for, you don't chase harder, you cultivate deeper. I remember a woman named Teresa who had been divorced for nearly 20 years. She lived alone, built a quiet life, but confessed she still longed for partnership. Every time someone showed interest, she found reasons to push them away. They remind me of my ex, or it's not the right time. What she didn't see was that she was replaying her fear of being hurt again. by keeping everyone at arm's length. She thought she was protecting herself. In truth, she was protecting her wound, not her heart. It took months of inner work, meditation, forgiveness exercises, even writing compassionate letters to her younger self, before she could finally say, "I think I've been keeping love out because I still see it through the eyes of pain." That confession was a release. Within a year, she met someone new. Not perfect, not dramatic, but steady, kind, safe. And this time, she let him in, not because he rescued her, but because she had rescued herself. This is the first step in breaking the cycle. Clean your windows. You cannot see love clearly if your vision is clouded by the residue of past betrayals. Forgiveness is not permission, it's liberation. You're not excusing what happened. You're refusing to drag it forward. Ask yourself, what baggage am I still carrying? Do I still define love by the ex who betrayed me? By the parent who neglected me? By the story I keep telling myself that I'm too old, too broken, too unworthy? As long as you carry those scripts, your relationships will play them out. But the moment you let them go, the story shifts. The second step is alignment. Ask yourself not just who you want, but who you are. If you want honesty, are you honest? If you want patience, are you patient? If you want loyalty, are you loyal to your own values? Love doesn't rise above the energy you emit, it meets it. This is why some people keep attracting partners who are emotionally unavailable. It's not fate, it's resonance. You cannot invite intimacy if you fear it. You cannot hold loyalty if you betray yourself. Becoming the right partner is less about charm and more about character. Here's where it gets practical. Let me give you a simple exercise. Write down 5 qualities you desire most in a partner. Then ask, how do I live each of these, even a little? Want a partner who listens? Practice listening, not just to lovers, but to friends, colleagues, even strangers. Want a partner who is emotionally steady? Start regulating your own nervous system through breathing, journaling, therapy, prayer. Want a partner who is kind? Practice kindness in traffic, in grocery lines, in family disagreements. Every act plants karmic seeds. Those seeds become the garden where love takes root. Let's bring in another story. Charles, a man in his 50s, carried bitterness from a brutal divorce. He'd say, "She ruined me," and yet he kept dating, hoping someone new would heal the wound. But love never stayed. Why? Because he had never stopped holding on to the one who already left. His bitterness was the baggage. Only way he released her, not by reconciling, but by forgiving, did the cycle shift. He began writing letters he never sent, apologizing inwardly for his own mistakes, acknowledging the pain without clinging to it. Slowly, his energy softened. Less than a year later, he met someone new. This time, love lasted, not because he got lucky, but because he got ready. That's the essence of karmic change. It's not about waiting for the right person. It's about becoming the right vibration. You cannot control who knocks at your door, but you can control whether your house is a place where love feels safe to stay. The third step is practice. Karma is built through repetition, not one-time revelations. Daily choices, your speech, your honesty, your compassion, determine the quality of your relationships. Do you gossip about your partner? Do you use harsh words in arguments? Do you withdraw into silence when things get hard? These habits generate karmic residue. Flip them. Practice right speech. Be truthful but not cruel. Be direct but not divisive. Practice repair. When you slip, own it, apologize, commit to one small change. Practice appreciation. Tell your partner what you value, not just what you resent. These small, consistent practices generate blessings. Over time, blessings matter more than charm, looks, or chemistry. They are the spiritual wealth that sustains love. Let me pause here to invite you again. If this resonates, if you're tired of cycles and ready for clarity, hit the subscribe button. This channel is about practical spirituality, about learning how to rewrite your love story one choice at a time. And leave a comment. What quality do you most want to embody in your next chapter of love? Your answer might inspire someone else to begin. Breaking the cycle doesn't mean guaranteeing a fairy tale. It means living with intention so that whatever love comes your way, whether it's in the form of a partner or the deep peace of your own company, it is aligned, not accidental. Love, in this sense, is not something you chase. It's something you become. And when you become it, it finds you. So ask yourself tonight, what old baggage can I release? What quality can I embody today? What practice can I repeat this week to shift my karma? By now, we've talked about mirrors, struggles, and cycles. But let's imagine for a moment that you've done the work. You've faced your patterns. You've released old baggage. You've chosen differently. What comes next? The real challenge. Building a relationship that doesn't just survive, but aligns with your spirit. Because love is not only about finding someone who excites you. It's about building a bond that nourishes your soul. And that requires something most people overlook: spiritual alignment. Now, let's be clear. When I say spiritual, I don't mean you both need to meditate every morning or chant the same prayers. Spiritual alignment is simpler and deeper. It means you share intentions about how you want to live. Peace over control, honesty over convenience, compassion over ego. It means you both walk through the world not trying to fix each other, but to grow together. When two people share this kind of orientation, love feels less like performance and more like practice. Think about the couples you admire. It's not the ones who post perfect selfies or dramatic anniversaries. It's the ones who radiate calm when they're together. They don't need to convince you of their love. You can feel it. That energy doesn't come from luck. It comes from shared values, repeated daily. And yes, it comes from compassion. Compassion is a foundation of a spiritually aligned relationship. It's the ability to see your partner not as a role, husband, wife, caregiver, provider, but as a soul in evolution. A soul with wounds, fears, and flaws, just like you. Compassion means that when conflict arises, the goal isn't to win, but to understand. Instead of asking, "How can I change you?" you ask, "How can I soften here? How can I love more skillfully?" That's alignment. I once listened to an elderly couple speak at a temple. They had been married for over 60 years. Someone asked them, "What's your secret?" The husband smiled and said, "We made a rule early on. One of us could be upset, but never both at the same time. If she was the fire, I became the water. If I was the storm, she became the sky." That, to me, is spiritual partnership. Not because it avoids conflict, but because it meets conflict with presence. Of course, compassion doesn't mean tolerance of harm. Let's say it clearly. A spiritually aligned relationship is never one that excuses abuse. Compassion is not the same as passivity. In fact, true compassion requires boundaries. Sometimes the most loving act is saying no or walking away. Alignment means honoring truth, even when it's hard. So, how do we build this kind of bond? We start within. If your mind is anxious, your love will be restless. If your heart is closed, your partner will feel distant. If your soul is full of blame, your relationship will feel heavy. But if your spirit is grounded, if you practice peace, forgiveness, integrity, then what you offer your partner is healing, not demand. The relationship becomes a sanctuary, not a battlefield. This is why solitude matters. Many people think being alone is wasted time, but solitude is training. If you cannot find peace in your own company, you'll demand your partner provide it for you. That's not alignment, that's dependency. But if you've learned to breathe, to sit, to soothe yourself, then you can come into partnership already full, already steady. That steadiness is a gift. And here's the beautiful part. Spiritually aligned relationships aren't grand. They're built on small, consistent practices. It could be 10 minutes of silence together each morning. It could be walking after dinner and reflecting on the day. It could be pause and hold hands and whisper a simple blessing. May we love well today. May we be kind. May we remember what matters. None of this requires drama, but it does require presence. And presence is what keeps the bond alive. I'll share a story. A couple I know, Robert and Elaine, decided to create a nightly ritual. Nothing complicated. Each night before bed, they asked each other 3 questions. What did you appreciate today? What challenged you today? What's one small thing we can do better tomorrow? Over time, that ritual became sacred. It kept their communication open, their compassion flowing, their alignment clear. Did they still argue? Of course. But those 3 questions gave them a compass. They never lost track of what really mattered. Now let's talk about weeds. Every garden has them, and so does every relationship. Resentment, unspoken needs, harsh words. If left unattended, they grow fast. Spiritually aligned couples don't pretend weeds don't exist. They pull them early. They speak up before bitterness festers. They apologize before distance hardens. And they celebrate the blooms. They don't take the good moments for granted. They pause to admire them, to say thank you, to smile and remember that joy, too, needs attention. There's a concept in Buddhism called Kalyanamitta, which means spiritual friend. A true friend is someone who walks beside you, encouraging you, reminding you of your highest self. In a spiritually aligned marriage, your partner becomes your Kalyanamitta, not your savior, not your possession, but your fellow traveler. You walk side by side, not in front, not behind. You carry each other when needed, but you never lose sight of the fact that both of you are souls on the same path. So here's the invitation. If you're in a relationship now, ask yourself, are we growing spiritually together or just growing older together? Are we co-creating peace or just sharing space? If you're single, ask, am I preparing myself to be a safe harbor for love? Because love doesn't just find you, it recognizes you, and it stays when it feels aligned. Let's pause for action. If this message resonates with you, click the subscribe button right now. This is how we keep building a community of people committed to real, lasting love, not just surface romance. And leave a comment. What small practice could you start this week to bring more alignment into your relationship? It could be as simple as listening more deeply or saying, thank you more often. Share it. You might inspire someone else to try. Spiritual alignment doesn't guarantee a perfect relationship, but it guarantees a meaningful one. And in a world full of distractions, that's rare and precious. Build your bond not on fireworks, but on steady flame. Tend to it daily. And remember, your partner is not your project. We've traveled far together. From the idea that love is never random, to the struggles of marriage, to the courage of breaking cycles, and finally to the beauty of spiritual alignment. Now it's time to step back, take a deep breath, and ask the most important question of all. What do we make of it all? What do we do with the joys and sorrows of love, the tenderness and the heartbreak, The years we spent beside someone who either lifted us or let us down. Here's the truth as I've come to see it. Love is karma, and karma is choice. That means nothing in your past is wasted. Not the passion that made you glow, not the loneliness that broke your heart, not the silence that stretched too long in your home. Every experience is a thread in your soul's tapestry, weaving the unique love story of your life. And each thread, no matter how dark or bright, can be reworked into something meaningful if you choose it. Let's remember what karma actually is. It isn't some cosmic judge keeping score of your mistakes. It's the echo of your intentions and actions. It's the energy you sent out coming back to you in ways you may not expect. That's why the people who come into your life, especially the ones who stir your soul, are not accidents. They are reflections. Some come to teach, some to heal, some to challenge, some to walk beside you in peace. And yes, even the difficult ones, the ones who hurt you, betrayed you, or walked away, are not mistakes. They are messengers. Think about it. The partner who abandoned you may have given you the gift of self-reliance. The one who criticized you endlessly may have forced you to confront your own worth. The one who betrayed your trust may have been the harsh but necessary teacher, showing you how to set boundaries. None of those experiences are easy, but none of them are wasted. They shape you. They refine you. They prepare you for deeper love, not because you suffered, but because you learned. And here's the most empowering truth. Karma is not fixed. It's fluid. It responds to who you are right now, not just who you were back then. You are not trapped by the relationships you've had. You are always shaping the relationships you're becoming. Every time you forgive, you rewrite your karma. Every time you act with compassion, you upgrade it. Every time you honor your heart with integrity, you create the conditions for love to thrive. You are never stuck. You are never too old. You are never too late. Let me give you a story. A man in his 70s once told me that after 2 failed marriages, he thought love was over for him. He carried shame, bitterness, regret. But one day, sitting alone, he asked himself, what if the lesson is not about finding someone else, but about becoming someone else? So he began practicing kindness, not to win anyone, but because he wanted to live kindly. He forgave his ex-wives silently, not to erase the past, but to free himself from its grip. He started volunteering, giving time instead of resentment. And here's what happened. People noticed. His energy softened. His laughter returned. And a few years later, he met someone who matched that new vibration. They didn't complete each other. They complemented each other. His karma had shifted, not because of luck, but because of choice. That's what I want you to take away. Karma is not about destiny. It's about direction. And you get to choose your direction every single day. Will you cling to bitterness, or will you release it? Will you wait for someone else to love you, or will you begin to radiate love yourself? Will you replay the old stories about what you deserve? Or will you trust that your heart knows how to find its way home? If you are a partner now, may you see your spouse not just as a companion, but as a soul evolving beside you. Treat your marriage not as a contract to be endured, but as a practice to be honored. Let each day be an offering of patience, grace, and attention. If you are single, may you release the idea that something is missing. You are whole now. Love is not something you chase. It is something you become. And the more aligned you are with peace, the more love will find you. Not always in romantic form, but always in meaningful form. And if you carry wounds from love, may you meet them not with shame, but with reverence. Those scars are sacred. They show you dare to open. You risk something real. That doesn't make you broken. It makes you brave. So here we are at the close of this reflection. The question before you is simple but profound. Who am I willing to become for love, to feel sacred again? Will you choose compassion over resentment, forgiveness over bitterness, presence over distraction? Because every choice shapes the karma of your love story. And your story is not finished. This chapter, perhaps your most powerful one, has just begun. If today's message touched your heart, let me invite you. Take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Here, we don't chase shallow tips or quick fixes. We walk the deeper path together, rooted in wisdom, honesty, and the quiet strength of the soul that never stops growing. Hit the like button if you felt a spark of clarity. Share this video with someone you know is struggling in love. And comment below, what lesson has love taught you so far? Your voice might be the message someone else is waiting for. Love, after all, isn't just a feeling. It's the karma we choose to live. Every day, every choice, every word, every act. So go forward with courage. Rewrite your story. And let love, true, aligned, luminous love, become not just what happens to you, but what flows through you. We live in a world that often tells us the secret of happiness is finding the right person. Movies, magazines, even family advice, they all push the same story. That love is about stumbling across the perfect match, the one who makes your heart race and your problems vanish. But Buddhism, and frankly life itself, offers us a more challenging, more liberating truth. The question isn't, how do I find the right person? The question is, am I becoming the right person? That may sound confronting at first, but let's be honest. Many of us have spent years chasing love without ever asking if we are truly prepared to hold it. Because love isn't just something you fall into. It's something you prepare for. It requires inner conditions, a kind of spiritual soil where connection can actually grow. Without that, no matter how many times you meet someone new, the same patterns will repeat. And so the real journey isn't hunting outside of you. It's cultivating blessings inside of you. Blessings in Buddhism aren't just lucky breaks or random fortune. They're the subtle spiritual wealth you build through your actions, intentions, and energy. Every time you show kindness, every time you speak truthfully, every time you practice patience instead of lashing out, you're planting seeds. And those seeds grow into the kind of energy that naturally attracts people of similar vibration. This is why a person who radiates gentleness tends to draw on others who value peace, while someone who clings to bitterness often finds themselves surrounded by drama. Karma doesn't reward or punish. It simply reflects. I remember meeting a woman in her 60s who had been single for over 20 years. She told me, "Everyone I meet disappoints me. They're either unavailable, unreliable, or simply uninterested." When we spoke more deeply, it became clear she was still holding on to resentment from her divorce decades earlier. She had never forgiven her ex, never forgiven herself. That unresolved energy was like a shadow she carried into every date, every conversation, every hope. Until she was willing to let go, no partner could ever feel safe enough to stay. She wasn't unlucky. She wasn't cursed. She simply hadn't cleared space in her heart for something new to grow. And this is true for many of us. We may long for a partner who is kind, emotionally mature, and stable. But ask yourself, am I embodying those qualities? Do I listen with care, or do I dismiss? Do I forgive, or do I cling to old grievances? Do I communicate honestly, or do I manipulate? These are hard questions, but they're necessary, because you cannot enter a relationship greater than your own blessings. If your inner state is clouded, your love life will reflect that. If your inner state is steady and generous, Your love life will eventually mirror that too. Let me share another story, this time about a man named Charles. He had been divorced for more than 20 years. His marriage had ended badly, and bitterness became his constant companion. "She ruined me," he would say about his ex-wife. Yet even as he dated again and again, nothing lasted. Women pulled away, connections fizzled, and he was left wondering why he always ended up alone. The truth hit him one quiet evening. He had never stopped living in the shadow of his ex. Every date, every chance at new love, was tainted by a story that belonged to the past. Charles began to do the work, not by chasing another partner, but by releasing the one who had already left. He wrote letters he never sent, meditated on forgiveness, and even apologized in his heart for the ways he had contributed to the collapse of that relationship. Slowly, his energy softened. Less than a year later, he met someone new. She wasn't dramatic. She wasn't flashy. She was simply kind, real, and grounded. And this time he was ready, because he had shifted his karma, not through luck, but through cultivating blessings. This is the essence of the teaching. Love doesn't come from longing. It comes from readiness. If you want a generous partner, live generously. If you want someone trustworthy, practice integrity in your own life. If you want deep connection, dare to open your heart, even when it feels vulnerable. Blessings are built, not granted. And when you build them, you naturally draw on those who are ready to meet you at that level. Now, let's talk about practical steps. First, reflect gently on your past relationships, not with guilt, not with shame, but with curiosity. What patterns do you see? Betrayal? Abandonment? Silence? These are not accidents. They're mirrors. They reveal the work your soul still longs to do. Second, bring awareness to your present. When you feel triggered, pause and ask, is this reaction about today, or is it an old wound echoing through me? The more honest you are, the freer you become. Third, cultivate blessings daily. Offer kindness not only to potential partners, but to strangers, to family, to yourself. Speak with honesty, release gossip, keep your heart open. These simple acts accumulate spiritual wealth that transforms your relationships. And perhaps most importantly, practice forgiveness. Forgive the people who hurt you, not to excuse them, but to free yourself. Forgive yourself for staying too long, for leaving too soon, for not knowing better at the time. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is liberation. It clears the old baggage so new blessings can arrive. So let me ask you, what blessings are you cultivating today? Are you building the inner wealth that will draw on a partner aligned with your soul? Or are you still waiting for someone else to fix what only you can heal? Remember, love doesn't just find you. It recognizes you. And when your energy is aligned with peace, compassion, and truth, love not only arrives, it feels safe enough to stay. Before we move on, I want to pause and ask you directly, what has been the hardest lesson you face in love? Share it in the comments below. You never know who might need to hear your story today. And if this message resonates with you, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel. Every interaction helps us grow this community of wisdom seekers, people who want not just surface love, but soul deep connection. Because at the end of the day, the partner you're meant for is not a prize to be won. They are a mirror of the energy you've been creating. So don't just look for love. At some point in life, often later, in the quiet of aging or in the silence after heartbreak, we all sit back and notice a pattern. Maybe the faces have changed. Maybe the years have rolled on. But the store in our hearts feels strangely familiar. The same disappointments. the same arguments, the same feeling of being unseen or unloved. And eventually, you begin to wonder, is it always them? Or is it something I'm carrying with me? This question is not an accusation. It's an invitation. Because what you carry, you create. And nowhere is this more obvious than in love. Karma doesn't just play out in big dramatic events. It lingers in subtle ways. The wounds we never healed, the fears we never faced, the emotions we stuffed into the corners of our hearts. That's what I call karmic baggage. It's the old pain, the old anger, the old stories that we drag into new relationships. And as long as we carry it, it colors every connection we make. Think about it. Maybe you were betrayed once and you never fully processed it. Now, every time your partner comes home late, suspicion creeps in. Maybe you grew up feeling you had to earn love. So even today you exhaust yourself proving your worth to people who never asked you to. Or maybe you buried anger so deep that it leaks out in sarcasm, distance, or sudden explosions. These patterns aren't accidents. They're karmic loops, and they will keep replaying until you choose to break them. I once met a woman named Teresa in a meditation circle. She was 68, wise and elegant, yet she confessed to me something heartbreaking. She had been single for nearly 2 decades after a painful divorce, and though she longed for companionship, every time someone new showed interest, she pulled away. "They remind me of my ex," she'd say, or "it's just not the right time." But as we spoke, it became clear. She wasn't afraid of being alone. She was afraid of being hurt again. And so unconsciously, she was living the wound over and over, protecting herself from closeness by never letting anyone in. It took months of inner work, meditation, forgiveness, and self-reflection for Teresa to finally whisper, "I think I've been keeping love out because I still see it through the eyes of pain." That realization was her liberation. And within a year, she met someone not complete her, but to walk beside her. He wasn't perfect, but he was real. And because she had finally put down her baggage, she could allow herself to receive love without fear. This is karmic freedom. The choice to stop dragging yesterday's pain into tomorrow's possibilities. So how do we actually do it? How do we break the cycle? The first step is awareness. Start by looking at your past relationships gently. What do they have in common? Was there a recurring theme? Betrayal, abandonment, silence, control? Don't judge yourself for it. Simply notice. Those themes aren't punishments. They are mirrors, showing you where your soul still longs to heal. The second step is mindfulness. When you feel triggered, when your partner says something small, but it hurts more than it should, pause. Ask yourself, is this wound from today, or is it an echo from long ago? Most of the time, the fire you feel is old kindling. Becoming aware of that gives you a chance to respond differently, to choose peace instead of repeating the script. The third step is forgiveness. Now, this is the hardest one. Forgiveness in Buddhism isn't about erasing the past or saying what happened was okay. It's about liberation. It's saying, I no longer give you the power to define how I love. Forgiveness is for you, not for them. It frees your energy so you can finally move forward. That might mean writing a letter to someone you'll never send. It might mean speaking compassion to your younger self. It might mean simply deciding, I will not let this pain be the author of my story anymore. And finally, make space. Clear away what no longer serves you. Maybe that's physical, like letting go of old love letters or gifts that keep you stuck in the past. Maybe it's emotional, like releasing resentment that lives quietly in your heart. Or maybe it's spiritual, like creating a ritual of cleansing, praying, or meditating to invite new energy into your life. Because until you clear the window, the light of love cannot shine through. Let me pause here and ask you directly, what patterns have you noticed in your own love story? Do you keep attracting people who leave? Do you keep choosing partners who don't respect you? Share in the comments, because your honesty might help someone else see their own cycle more clearly. And if this message speaks to you, please like this video, share it with someone who's still carrying old heartbreak, and subscribe to the channel. This community is about healing together, and your story matters here. Here's the truth that changed my own life. Karmic baggage doesn't disappear by ignoring it. It dissolves when you face it with courage. When you say, yes, I was hurt. Yes, I carry scars. But I refuse to let those scars decide my future. And in that moment, you reclaim your freedom. So, break the cycle. Not by pretending the past never happened, but by refusing to let it rule you anymore. Love is waiting. Not always in the form of a partner, but in the form of peace, of wholeness, of a heart finally free to give and receive. And when you live in that freedom, you don't just change your karma, you change your entire life. As we come to the end of this journey, let's pause and look at the bigger picture. We've explored how karma shapes who we marry, why relationships sometimes bring pain, how blessings invite love, how cycles can be broken, and how alignment makes love sacred. Now, the question remains, what do we make of it all? Here's the truth I want to leave with you. Love is karma, and karma is choice. That means your past does not trap you. It shapes you, yes, but it does not define you forever. Karma isn't some cosmic punishment system. It's not the universe handing out rewards and penalties. It's the echo of your intentions, the reflection of your actions, the vibration of your energy. And that echo can change the moment you decide to live differently. Think back on your life for a moment. Every relationship, whether it lasted decades or just a season, carried a lesson. Some partners taught you joy. Others taught you patience. Some awakened wounds you didn't know you carried. And some forced you to stand on your own 2 feet. None of those people were accidents. Even the hardest ones were messengers, showing you where healing was still needed. And here's the gift. Once you see the lesson, you no longer need the pain. Take, for example, a friend of mine who once told me, the partner who betrayed me gave me the greatest gift, self-worth. Because when I finally stopped blaming them, I realized I had been undervaluing myself for years. That's the power of reflection. The person who hurt you isn't just a villain in your story. They may also be the mirror that revealed your strength. And yet, we often forget that karma is not fixed. It is alive. It responds to your present, not just your past. Every time you forgive, you rewrite it. Every time you act with compassion, you shift it. Every time you honor your heart, you upgrade it. You are never stuck. You are always becoming. That means no matter how many heartbreaks you've lived through, you are still capable of building love that is whole, peaceful, and true. I once met an elderly man who had spent most of his life convinced he was unlucky in love. 2 divorces, a string of disappointments, and he had given up. But one day he asked himself, what if love isn't about luck at all? What if it's about readiness? And so, instead of seeking a new partner, he turned inward. He practiced gratitude, forgave his past, and began treating himself with kindness for the first time. Years later, in his 70s, he met someone. They didn't complete each other. They complemented each other. His karma had shifted, not by waiting for luck, but by choosing a new direction. That's what I want you to remember. Karma is not destiny. It's direction. And you get to choose your direction every day. Will you carry bitterness, or will you choose compassion? Will you cling to the old stories, or will you allow new ones to be written? Will you wait to be loved, or will you begin radiating love yourself? These choices are the brushstrokes painting the love story of your life. If you are partnered, I invite you to see your spouse not only as companion, but as a soul evolving beside you. Treat your marriage as a practice, not a contract. Each day, offer patience, kindness, and presence. And when conflict arises, remember, you are not enemies. You are fellow travelers, learning how to grow together. If you are single, let go of the idea that you are incomplete. You are whole right now. Love isn't something you chase. It's something you become. And the more aligned you are with peace, the more love will find you. Sometimes in romantic form, sometimes in the form of deep friendships, sometimes in the quiet contentment of solitude. All of those are love, and all of them are sacred. And if you carry wounds from the past, may you meet them not with shame, but with reverence. Scars are not signs of failure. They are proof of courage. They mean you dare to open. You risk something real. That doesn't make you broken. It makes you brave. So as we close, let me ask you one last question. Who are you willing to become for love to feel sacred again? Will you be the one who clings to old pain, or the one who forgives? Will you wait for others to change, or will you change the energy you bring into every relationship? The choice is yours, and that choice is karma. Before you leave, I'd love to hear from you. What has love taught you in your life? Share your story in the comments below. You might just be the voice someone else needs to hear today. And if this reflection resonated with you, please like this video, share it with a friend who may need these words, and subscribe to the channel. Together, we're building a community of wisdom seekers. People who know that love isn't just romance. It's a path of growth, healing, and awakening. Because love, in the end, isn't random. It's not an accident. It's the karma you choose to live. Every day, every word, every action. And when you choose compassion, presence, and truth, love stops being something you chase. It becomes something that flows through you, timeless, luminous, and true. So, go forward with courage. Rewrite your story. And let love, not just as a feeling, but as a spiritual choice, become the way you live. As we bring today's reflection to a close, I want to take this moment not just to summarize what we've explored, but to connect heart to heart with you, the person watching, listening, and quietly reflecting on your own story. Because this journey isn't just about karma, relationships, or even love. It's about you, your story, your choices, your healing, and the community we are building together. If you stayed with me until now, that means something inside you resonated. Maybe it was a reminder that love is never random. Maybe it was a story of Teresa, who finally realized she was holding love out of her life because she was still seeing through the eyes of pain. Or maybe it was Charles, who learned that bitterness toward his ex-wife was actually blocking new love from entering. Or perhaps it was the wisdom of that couple married 60 years, who balanced each other's storms with calm skies. Wherever it touched you, let that feeling linger, because it's a sign. It's your soul telling you, yes, this is a direction. Pay attention here. Now, let me speak to you personally. If you ever felt unlucky in love, if you ever wonder why the same patterns repeat, if you ever carried the weight of regret, heartbreak, or loneliness, please know this. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too late. Every scar you carry is proof of courage, proof that you dare to open your heart when you could have stayed closed, proof that you risked something real in a world that often encourages us to play it safe. That makes you brave. And bravery, my friend, is the soil where blessings grow. The fact that you are still here, still watching, still seeking wisdom, means you're already rewriting your karma. Step by step, breath by breath, you are choosing a new direction. That deserves recognition. That deserves to be honored. But here's the beauty. You don't have to walk this path alone. This channel, this community we're building together, is here for exactly that reason. A place where love is not reduced to cliches, where aging is not seen as decline, and where wisdom is celebrated as strength. A place where we honor the messy, beautiful, sacred journey of relationships, whether you're partnered, divorced, widowed, or single. And so, I want to ask you, gently but directly, to stay connected. If you felt a spark today, take a moment right now to like this video. It may seem small, but it tells YouTube that this message has value, and it helps it reach more souls who need to hear it. If you've ever thought, I wish I had heard this years ago, imagine how many people out there are still waiting. By clicking that like button, you become part of spreading the light. Next, I invite you to share this video. Maybe there's a friend, a sibling, or even a grown child in your life who've been struggling with love, marriage, or loneliness. Sometimes words from outside hit differently than advice from family. By sharing, you might give someone the exact message they need to find clarity or peace or courage to begin again. And that's a gift worth giving. And then this part is so important. I want to hear from you. Take a moment to comment below. Tell me, what has love taught you in your life? Maybe it taught you patience. Maybe it taught you forgiveness. Maybe it taught you how strong you really are. Whatever it is, your story matters. And when you share it here, you might be the one who helps another person realize they are not alone. This channel isn't just about my voice. It's about our voices. Together, we weave a tapestry of wisdom that grows richer with every comment, every story, every shared truth. And of course, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to this channel. Every week, we dive deep into topics like love, karma, healing, aging with strength, and living with meaning. By subscribing, you're not just following a channel. You're joining a community of people who believe life after 60 can be full of wisdom, clarity, and love. When you subscribe, you're saying yes to walking this path together. Now, let me tell you something personal. I've had people reach out after watching these reflections and say things like, I thought it was too late for me. I thought my best years of love were behind me. But after hearing your words, I realize I still have chapters left to write. That's why I do this. Not for numbers, not for algorithms, but for souls. For people like you who deserve to know that no matter your past, your story is not over. In fact, the most powerful chapters may just be beginning. So as we close, I want you to sit with this thought. Love is not random. It's karma. And karma is choice. Every time you forgive, every time you show compassion, every time you honor your heart, you are shaping a love story that is bigger than romance. A love story that reflects your growth, your resilience, your spirit. And that story is worth living with your whole heart. So let's keep walking this path together. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, not as empty actions, but as acts of connection. Acts of saying, yes, I am part of this journey. Yes, I believe love can be sacred again. Yes, I am willing to grow. And when you return for the next video, we'll go even deeper into the wisdom of relationships, the mysteries of karma, and the practices that bring real peace. Until then, remember, you are not broken, you are not late, you are not unloved, you are brave, you are whole, and you are always becoming. So go forward today with courage, choose compassion. Radiate love, and know that this community and this channel will be here to walk with you every step of the way.